Today is March 2nd, 2017. This is your Lake of the Ozarks fishing report for the upper Osage part of the Lake of the Ozarks, and this report is courtesy of Joe's Lake Ozark Guide Service. First, I need to apologize. It's been a month since I've done my last report. I had two things going on. I had to finish up coaching basketball season. I've coached basketball for 35 years, still love to do it, still enjoy it. So we had to finish up that season, and then also we had to welcome the birth of our new granddaughter, Nora Marie, which she took an extra week to get here, but the wait was well worth it, and that's why we haven't had any updated fishing reports. We've just had other things going on. But here's a report for today, March 2nd. The lake level is 654, so the lake is 6 feet down from summer pool. Right now it's as low as I think we're going to get it. I think it can only go up from here. So now's a great time to get on the water though and look at some of those exposed brush piles, logs, big rock piles, little spawn and indentations, things that you normally don't see when the water's up. The lake a month ago was pretty clear for the upper Osage area. In our area where I live, around the 55-mile marker, we had 2 foot of visibility. That has gone away. We've got 6 inches to 8 inches of visibility now. It's very, very stained, almost muddy. As the cold fronts come through, it kind of shuts things down here, but when we had these warming trends come through, it really accelerated the fish aggressiveness as we went. We're right kind of the middle of a cold front. We went through some nasty storms, some warm weather earlier in the week. Temperature last night was 29 degrees. It's supposed to get down to 26 or 27 degrees tonight. So that may further drop the water temperature a little bit. So usually what happens when those conditions occur, the bite is usually better in the afternoon when the sun gets on the water and it warms the air temperatures up around 50s into the 60s. Water temperature right now, this morning when I got on the water, it was 43. Just got off the water here early to mid-afternoon. Water temperatures around 50 to 51. So that's kind of a range where we're looking at. So the fish are mainly in a pre-spawn mode. Now let me tell you what we're catching fish on right now. A month ago it was mainly a jig, swamp bug on a shaky head, and a jerkbait, Alabama rig if you want to throw that. Now the patterns are expanding a little bit. You can still catch fish on those lures, but now we can also add maybe the crankbait into it when the water temperature gets above 45, around 50. Wigglewort's a great choice to throw. This is a brown crawl wigglewort. The nice thing about the wigglewort, big wide wobbling action, wide bill, easy for the fish to track. Square bill crankbaits are awful good right now with the shallow water, shallow cover being exposed. You can crank that square bill into logs and stuff, and if the fish are up feeding, and when it's warm, sunny afternoon, you can catch a few that way. Also getting to the point where we can catch a few on spinnerbaits. This is a War Eagle spinnerbait. I use basic white and chartreuse colors up here, silver blade, gold blade combination with my spinnerbait. And I always use a trailer hook with your spinnerbait, I always do, because sometimes these fish, especially early in the spring, they're a little bit sluggish, a little bit slower. They may short strike your lure and miss. And the trailer hook will catch some of those fish. Main thing we're catching fish on right now is the jig. It's Crocker Gator zapper jig with a little Crocker Gator ring crawl trailer on it. I like to take the pinchers of my crawls and color them a little bit. I'll normally, if we have normal water conditions where you can see pretty well, I'll put orange tint or a red tint to it. Today I put a little chartreuse tip on there because the water is a little bit dirtier. Might be easier for the fish to track. And I don't know if you can hear this, but also I put a rattle on this because of the colored water. I think it just helps the fish kind of track it a little bit better. I did throw the swamp bug on the shaky head. You can still catch fish on those, but didn't really get bit on that. Wind's blowing pretty hard right now, so I've had to go up from a 3/8 ounce jig to a 1/2 ounce jig just to feel the bite, feel the bottom, and that seems to have paid off a little bit. In fact, let me show you one I caught today. It's not a tremendously big fish, but it's a 4.5 pounder, and this fish, I'll tell you where she was here in just a second if you get a good look at her, but look at that belly on there. My goodness, looks like me at times. That fish was on a steep part of a channel bank. About 3 weeks ago when we had these warming trends, you could catch some of these fish when we got these 70-degree days up on some of these channel banks, but up on kind of the flatter areas of these channel banks. cold front comes through. Some of these fish have backed off into the deeper holes along the channel banks, along the more vertical banks. So that fish, as the afternoon gone on, she kind of moved up into just a little shallow bowl or a shallow pocket indentation right on the bank. And she probably wasn't 10 to 15 feet where she could pull back down off of that into a deeper hole when the colder temperatures cool off the water. But as the water has warmed up a little bit this afternoon, she just slid up into that little bowl. Doesn't have to go very far, doesn't have to expend much energy to go up and feed and then drop back down. Caught her in what's called a rock transition. A rock transition is where you have rocks that change from one style or one type of rock into another. And on this lake, we'll have bluff rock, or that volcanic lava looking rock, and those will transition and change into chunk rock, or what we call, and the chunk rock can have two basically types, I think. You can have those big boulders, big basketball sized boulders, softball sized boulders with some smaller rocks moved in, mixed in with it. And then you can also have just some fist sized rocks. That's what we all can consider mainly the chunk rock, kind of on a gravel bank. And then from there, that bank will transition into your little spawning pockets and your little flatter pockets into the smaller pea gravel, just more like, looks like playground gravel that you would find on a sandy beach or something like that. So these fish will follow these transition banks into these, and that fish is right where the rock changed from the big, huge basketball type size rocks, softball size rocks, into the smaller chunk rock type rocks. It wasn't really close to the pea gravel type rocks yet, but a lot of times these fish can make that transition in one day. That fish could start out in a bluff type rock and transition into that chunk rock in the afternoon, or start in a chunk rock in the morning and transition into a pea gravel in the afternoon. I'll talk about it more as we move on into the spring, but if I feel the fish are closer to the pea gravel type banks than they are the chunk rock type banks, then what I will do is I will start in those spawning pockets and work my way out. Whereas right now, I'm kind of starting in the very back of a creek on a channel bank, and I'm just kind of working my way out. Normally this time of year, with the lake level down as much as it is, we usually catch our fish in the first channel bank as you come into the cove, just inside the point. Today, most of the bites I've got today, including the bigger fish I caught there, was about halfway to 2/3 the way back in the creek. And the reason why is I think it's because we've had this warm weather, unseasonably warm weather. So that's what's going on right now. I should be able to give you more up-to-date reports more often here, about every couple of weeks. And if you have any questions, my email's on the website, joeslakeozarkguideservice.com. Good luck with your fishing. Be safe. Anytime we get these nice warm days out here, it's extremely windy. Main lake gets pretty rough if you're running from one spot to another. And if you are motoring around in the upper lake area, stay in the main channel, because a lot of the flats have a lot of logs and stick-ups exposed, and hate for you to hit those and tear up your motor, because when you get in the upper Osage, when they start dropping 5 to 6 foot of water off the lake, it doesn't take long for these mud flats to become sticking out of the water and become dry. So again, good luck in your fishing. Mainly we're looking at channel banks, windy points, and looking for those little bowl-shaped pockets. That's what we're looking for right now. So thank you.